love a spa. My sister, I mean, I'll just go waller. Just give me some like water and a sauna or whatever, and I'll
Hmm.
just go waller for a while.
Of course.
The
Yeah,
Wallerer,
I am.
the Grand Wallerer.
I'm
Well,
a
hey,
I'm
we
a waller.
are live. So
Hello.
let's get right down to it. Hey, everyone. I know there's not anybody on here yet, but I like to say hey, everyone anyways. Hey, everyone. We are live on the Overland podcast. We will be talking to some friends here in just a little bit. I've got my wife on here. Thanks, babe, for joining me.
Thanks for asking me.
You bet. Well, Tony, his wife, is off in North Carolina, and he's had to do some dad duties. So, thank you for stepping in on that, and always being willing to join me.
It's a
Uh,
blast. It's an hour of conversation with my husband and a friend.
yeah, yeah,
Welcome.
exactly, exactly. Well, for years we have been a traditional overlanding podcast, but we have expanded into different areas. We've been talking about quite a few different things about backpacking, and getting out because there's so many ways to explore our beautiful planet, and it's all traveling over land, whether you're doing it by wheels or whether you're doing it by feet. And so we want to bring on someone who is a part of this community, living the life, but not only living the lifestyle that we love, but it also has taken that lifestyle and has started a very unique business, and one I've grown to love and use products from, and helping others to stay lighter. So today on the podcast we have Luke from UltraliteSacks. Luke, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
yeah, welcome to the show. Um, So, what I like to do when we come on and start the podcast is just tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
Yeah. So, my name's Luke, founder of UltraliteSacks, and originally, my wife and I both are from Illinois, like smack dab in the middle, Bloomington, Normal area.
Hmm,
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. We've lived in quite a few places since then, but yeah, we're originally from Central Illinois.
that's awesome. You found yourself in moving around. You were in the Pacific Northwest for a little while, and I find that interesting because I've never been there before. And next summer, we're planning on going there. So, did you enjoy your time there in the Pacific Northwest?
I did, yeah, absolutely. I was very fortunate enough to be able to spend just about 5 years in Southern Oregon, like right on the coast. So
Mm.
we were like right there where Oregon meets California. It was a
Oh
really
wow,
special
that's
place.
yeah, I imagine. So, since we're planning on going out there, any places that you can tell us that we would want to put on our must see list?
Oh man,
Yeah.
well, yeah, there was quite a few places out there. I guess it depends on what do you guys want to get out of the trip, or is there you guys have any type of priorities on
We're
are
going to
you
do
wanting
it
to?
all. We're going to do it all. We're going to do some hiking and biking and getting out and seeing the sights and hopefully get to the coast for a little bit. So,
Yeah,
trying to make a list of the things that we want to see. We're going to have quite a bit of time, but we're going to take a little bit of time getting out there and coming back too.
sure.
So, but that's one of the places that I personally have never been before. So,
Okay.
I want to take it all in. I want to take it
Yeah.
all in.
Yes, sir. I mean, I could not recommend Brookings, Oregon enough. That's where we lived
Ooh,
for
Brookings.
5 years. Yeah.
Hmm.
And so it's down way in the corner on the coast, and it's in a little banana belt.
Brookings.
So like temperatures year round, you're either at 65 and sunny or it's 55 and rainy. Just
Hmm.
summer, winter.
That's perfect.
That is
Yeah.
perfect. I wish it would
Yeah.
stay that way here all the time.
And
Mhm.
it's extremely remote out there too. So you'll be able to find a lot of really good backcountry backpacking and some like killer forest roads. You could go
Hmm.
anywhere and just camp anywhere out there.
Wow.
It's
Brookings. Put that on the
Okay.
list, babe. Put it
Babes,
on the
yes.
that's
list.
what I'm doing right now. I pulled up
Yeah,
summer
put it on the list.
2025,
She's
I
got a
did.
list for everything. I bet she's got 1,000 different lists on
Oh
there.
shoot. I could
Yeah.
send you pins on maps too. I mean, like
Yeah.
I could get you right into some
Oh, that'd be horrible.
wild places. So
That'd be horrible. I'd hate that. I'd absolutely hate that.
yeah.
We will be taking our dress down secondary overlanding vehicle, mainly because it gets almost 3 times the gas mileage as the big
Sure.
one does. So we won't be able to do anything rough and tough, but we can get to most places, and we have the tent and the fridge and all that, so we'll be able to go
Sure.
and stay just about anywhere. Pretty excited.
Well, I tell you what, if you take a look at our Subaru, you'll be able to see some scars on that, taking it places we should not have been taking it. So,
Oh, I wonder what he's gonna cry more at our Subaru's first scar.
yeah, it
I'm telling
hurts
you.
so bad.
People
I wonder.
rib me all the time. You need to get this out on some trails, and I was like, I don't even have 15,000 miles on it. It's still new. I take it to the car wash at least once a week and vacuum
Yeah.
it out, clean it up.
Yeah.
Uh,
Something tells me if I'm the one that puts the scar on it, he's gonna be crying harder than. No, I'll be
I
crying
will.
harder.
I will.
I
And
Oh,
you'll
man.
never live that down, I promise.
I know. Okay. I need to make sure that happens to you first.
So, what brought you back to Arkansas from such an amazing place as that?
Well, sure. So, a handful of things, but I feel like we had our good time in Oregon, and it's time to move on to something else. And my wife has a lot of family out in the kind of northern Arkansas area. Came out and we visited. We'd been down here a couple of times, I believe, and I've always liked it. Jesse's always liked it. So we said, why don't we give it a shot out there and really see, and the housing market out here was really really affordable at the time, and so we kind of slid right in at the right time. And that chapter in our life, we're kind of more or less, looking for getting a property to have as our own. Before we lived in a tiny house. That's why we were so lucky enough to be able to live out west and like in Brookings and in Arizona, Colorado. Is we had a tiny house we moved around.
Yeah, I knew you'd have her on that.
Okay,
Tell
tell me about this tiny house.
Yeah.
Oh,
How
it's
many
like a
square
house, but
feet?
it's really small.
That's right. That's right.
I was wondering, like, could
So
you fit it in your pocket? Was it that small?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's like a little bitty wadder. It's a little bitty house. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd tow it like with just a diesel truck, and but I think it was like I think it's 240 square feet.
Oh
Wow.
wow!
So
were you like loft? Like had a loft that you guys slept? Like okay.
Yeah. So we were also very lucky at this junction of our lives too. When we were wanting to do the tiny house, it was established, but it wasn't really a big deal yet. So we got in with a really great company as they were kind of getting started up too, and we got to design everything we wanted in the floor plan. And at the time, I was working remotely for an insurance company, so I needed to have an office, like literally with a door that could close, and that was like the biggest hurdle. So we were able to design with the team and get a king size bed and an office that had a door that closed, all in this little tiny house.
Wow.
Okay, I'm Googling 240 square foot tiny house right now just to see what it looks like.
Well, you can Google our tiny house if you wanted to.
What?
Yeah. You want me to send it to you, Joey?
Yeah.
I'll send it over to you.
Okay. While you're sending that,
it's gonna be amazing.
Speaking of, to go back for just a second, Oregon, one of my favorite state parks in any state is in Oregon. What is it? Silver Falls State Park.
Okay. Yeah.
It is amazing. There's a one trail that you can hike like to like 11 different waterfalls or something like that, and half of them you get to like walk behind. It was a state. I mean, it was one of those where when I clued in, I think that was the trip where after I went to that state park, I thought, I need to like look at other state parks in other states and not just think it's all about the national parks. Because that one is one of the prettiest state parks I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
and it's in Oregon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a neat little spot. And then if you guys do go on the coast, the I think it's like the Samuel H. Boardman. There's like a whole a corridor essentially that's like 30 miles of coastline, and it has like the sea stacks, and there's tons of coast trails and whatnot.
Oh, how cool!
It's really neat.
That's cool.
Shoot,
I'm just amazed that you fit a king size bed in a 240 square foot tiny house. I'm like, how many square feet is a king size bed?
It's
Um,
a lot.
I know, like
It's
32.
probably 100. It's probably 10 by 10. King size bed. It's probably pretty close to 10 by 10. It's like
yeah, I
80,
think it's
probably
somewhere
80.
like around like 8 by 8, I think.
So
64.
64 square feet
Yeah.
of
So
Yeah,
that
like a
was your
fourth of
bed.
your house was bed.
yeah, but it
Wait,
was
I
worth
might
it,
be. I could
man.
sign up for that. Yeah.
Well, they
It was.
have 2 dogs too, so they got those. Yeah. So you got to have
Oh, and
room
we
for
had to
everybody.
have stairs too, like because a lot of them have ladders up to the lofts, and and we didn't want to be
Yeah.
hauling dogs up and down, so we had to,
Oh yeah.
we had
Yeah.
stairs. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Well, before we talk about ultralight sacks, I want to just visit with you a little bit more and get to know you a little bit better. So, what would you say contributed to you falling in love with the outdoors? Take us back to a time when you fell in love with the outdoors. What triggered that?
sure. So it really comes down to one trip, to be totally honest. I think it was back in 2013. So, unfortunately, my dad passed away, and one of his biggest goals, like he always wanted to go to Alaska. He was obsessed with that that really dumb show about Alaska, back Mountain Men or something, Alaska.
Yeah.
So, or Alaska's Last
That's
Frontier.
Joey's face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Last Alaskans. Yeah.
yeah. It
Yeah.
was, I mean, it's a funny show. It's great, but he was always like wanted to go, and then he passed away and never made it. So my brother and I said we're going to do an epic trip to Alaska, and we went for it was like 2 weeks essentially, and we got to go to Denali and and do the whole nine. But we got to go to Homer, Alaska, and
Oh
take
yeah.
it was killer at the end of the Kenai, and then
Yes.
we took a float plane from Homer into Kachemak Bay State Park because you can only get there by boat or by plane.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it was like a super epic adventure, and we're both
Wow.
from Central Illinois, and
Corn. There's a lot of
yeah,
corn.
yeah. So the whole time we're both just awestruck and completely underprepared, and I mean, yeah, it was like going straight to the NFL,
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, what are we looking back on it? I mean, thank goodness it turned out as good as it did, because there's a lot of times where it could have taken a turn and not been good. But
You're like,
yeah,
is
so
that
that was
a
really what
bear?
sparked it for me after that. Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
was hooked.
That's
That
cool.
is
Well,
awesome.
you've really, done a lot of things and living in a tiny house, you've kind of really bought into the minimalist lifestyle and then you
Mhm.
went from that to building out or buying a pretty cool van. We went camping a few weeks ago at Rendezvous. Rick England is on here, one of the ones who puts on Rendezvous. And so you came to our Rendezvous on that Saturday, and you got to camp with us, and you brought your van. So tell us about your van and what you've all done to it and outfitted it, and where you've taken it and stuff. How you love it.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a 2010 Econo line, and we're really just kind of wanting something minimal but simple, so we could take it on road trips and then also be able to get back to trailheads and camp out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a 2-wheel drive, but it got a little bit of a lift to it, bigger tires, so
Mm-hmm.
it does get back to some cool places. But it's just a simple build in the back, just a platform for a bed, a lot of storage underneath it, so I can have my all my gear, my tools, and stuff like that. And then I built out an electric system for it, with the house battery and
Mm-hmm.
chargers, and I love 12-volt electric systems, so
Mm.
I got to really nerd out on bus bars and everything else, building that out, so making it look clean.
I like it. I like
Oh,
it. Any
you just were speaking his language, making it look clean.
yeah,
He,
clean.
that's
Yeah.
him.
Clean,
He's like,
clean.
"Ugh, I don't, none of this. I need it
No, it's got to be
clean.
clean, and there can't be any rattles. It drives me insane.
Oh,
We were driving. We had to go pick up our Honda got worked on, and all the way there, a drawer in the back of the Subaru was going out and in and out and in, out and in. I was going insane. I was fixing to shoot somebody. So as soon as we stopped, I had to pop the trunk open and deal with that. It was.
oh yeah,
It's got to be clean. It's got to be quiet. It's got to be
Yes.
perfect.
that's right.
Everything's got to
And
have its own space.
Considering that I was the person sitting next to you in the car, I'm very glad that you refrained from shooting anybody. I'm very
well,
thank you. Thank you. I
was.
didn't know how close I was
You were
to
very close.
to certain death.
About a foot and a half away. So I know you've been a few places in your van. So let me ask you this. This is one of the questions I like to ask everybody that comes on the show. If money was no object, where would you like to take your van and why? Bucket list. Give me a spot. Have you thought about it?
Well, it would probably be up somewhere in the P&W. I guess maybe like British Columbia, trying to get up to the Rockies up there, and maybe even more towards the coast, maybe more towards Vancouver Island, maybe over a little bit more like towards the Squamish area. I've never been. I've been to Seattle, and that was about as far north as I got in that area. But I'd love to be in BC and check that out.
There is I don't know if you've seen it or not. We actually accidentally was filtering through YouTube one day, and it was there was this trail came up that's right on the coast, just right above Washington, right there in British Columbia, and it's like a 120-mile trail that's actually is like the Appalachian Trail that's got huts on it every 10 miles.
Okay.
And so that's it. We watched that video, and I was like, I'm putting that on the list. That's on the list. I want to do that so bad now.
That sounds like fun.
Oh yeah, we'll have to do it. We'll have to do it. I love it. So, well, you're one of the sponsors of the show. UltraliteSacks is one of the sponsors of the show, and we love to highlight the sponsors. But since you're on here, we're highlighting you. But last week you texted me and you stated you said something about another one of our sponsors. You actually went on a little hiking trip, and you said Mamu's Kitchen has ruined all other freeze-dried food for me. So I want to throw that out there. You enjoyed it, huh?
Oh, that's 100% accurate. It was so good. I couldn't. I was so mad it was over whenever I finished it.
It's so cozy, tasty. It just is.
What was the one that we tried when we went camping that day? It was the chicken, King Ranch chicken.
King's Ranch, King's Ranch. Yeah.
Oh, so King Ranch chicken actually has Doritos in it, and I don't know how they did it. But it still had the crunchy Doritos in it. And I want to ask them, how did you do that? Because this stuff's been soaking in water for 10 minutes, and it worked. I don't know how it worked, but you had the Bayou blend. You said it was the seafood one. That's their claim to fame. That's the one that they say is the best one. So
I just always, every time I'm at home by myself, I'm like, I think I want some the chicken
brings
spaghetti.
Them out. She brings it out all the time. She's like, "What are we having for dinner?" She's like, "We can have Mamu's Kitchen."
Yeah.
Like, okay.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Well, every now and then I get out my stove and I practice with it. Because I got a beer can stove, and I absolutely love cooking with this beer can stove. And I was trying a few things out on it, so every now and then we get one of our freeze dried meals out and try it out. But she always pulls the Mamu's Kitchen. We could try this. We could try this. Yeah. We won't be missing out on anything good if we do that. But anyway, all right.
Did you tell him the last time when you were speaking about him last week or the week before so much that when it did the transcript for the show?
Yes, I texted him the next morning. And so I'm actually going to have to pronounce my words a little better tonight than I did last week. And so it'll be UltraliteSacks and see if it comes on there. So speaking of UltraliteSacks, tell us how did that get a start? How did you get started on that? When did you get started making your own gear?
Yeah. So it was late 2018. So my brother and I went on the Alaska trip in like 2013. And it wasn't too long after that when my wife and I got the tiny house made and we moved out west, and we were kind of around Arizona and Colorado and then out to Oregon. And, I had been doing quite a bit of hiking and peak bagging and all that kind of stuff the whole way out there. And, I discovered Dyneema equipment. So that's really what that's what did it. And you know, that Dyneema equipment had the price tag on it. So yeah, I just decided, I was like, you know, I needed a hobby, and I said I'm going to try to make some stuff. And I made a few bags, like I made like a pouch, a wallet out of some Dyneema, and I used it and it was working. So then I got some more Dyneema and I started making more stuff. And then it got to the point where I just buy it and I would make a couple things for me, and then I would make the rest of it and sell it on eBay. And it was getting snatched up so quick. I mean, like, just sometimes not even a full day. It would just sell. So then I started doing that just kind of as a little bit of a side hustle, because I was still working remotely for an insurance company out of Illinois. And, you know, so now I kind of could do whatever I wanted to, because I could make a couple bags to, you know, buy something so I can make it for myself. And, you know, I started making some backpacks and stuff for myself. And it just really just slowly took off until I decided I want to jump in with both feet, really. Yeah, it's sweet. A lot of fun though.
So some of that first stuff that you make, do you still make the same stuff today that you made, like some of the first stuff? Oh, he's backing up. He's fixing to pull some stuff out of the archives.
Well,
I'll tell you what, because you gotta stay humble, and you gotta know where you came from. That is like the first pouch. And any eagle eye people out there will be able to tell you that I definitely made this wrong side out.
Oh, love it.
And oh man, the stitching is terrible. But yeah, I used this for my first aid kit for years. And
cool.
And then another little wallet. But that's where it started.
That's what my wallets and my credit card holder and my purse are Dyneema. Hey, would you guys mind just talking about, there might be some people that are not familiar when you say Dyneema, like what you mean by what and what's so special about that fabric?
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question.
That is something that
is a great question.
It wasn't until the professor and I got together that I was like, Dyneema, what? And then I was always like, you know, that fabric that you're telling me.
I have his website pulled up here right on it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. There it is. Yeah. So Dyneema is it's a branded name of a fiber. So it's let me do this one. So it's UHMWPE. Ultra high weight molecular polyethylene is what the name of the fiber is. And the Dyneema is a brand of that type of fiber. So it's an extremely tough and very, very lightweight fiber that you can use in multiple ways. But with Dyneema, what they're really known for is they take those fibers and they're able to lay them out in a crisscross 90-degree fashion, and they're not woven together. They're just laid on top of each other. And then they're bonded with a proprietary mylar layer and some type of like a bonding glue in there. And so it makes like a space age looking fabric. And it's really not, fabric's the wrong word for it. It's more of a material.
Yeah. It looks like plastic. It really looks like plastic to me.
It does. And it's got a crinkly sound to it. It's a very
it's got a very the texture. It's like once you feel Dyneema, you can pick it out and the other.
And
it's so much stronger than what it looks like. You know, when I got the very first Dyneema thing that I ever owned, I got it in and I thought, this ain't gonna last a week. You know, I had no idea how strong it was, how durable it was, abrasion resistant and all that. It's a crazy
now
material.
it's also waterproof, right? Like no?
So it is. The material itself is actually it's technically hydrophobic. So it's not only waterproof, but it doesn't even absorb water. So so if you take that material and you just like hold that material underneath the water, it's going to weigh the exact same tomorrow that it did whenever it went in. Whereas, you know, like a sil nylon or a sil polyester, what you see it mostly with like a tent rain fly, Like if you were to do that with a tent rainfly, if you were to just hold it underneath the water, it's going to absorb a percentage of the water into it.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a 1 pound rainfly, whenever you pull it out of the water, it could be 2 or 3 pounds at that point.
Yeah.
So it's really good for backpackers. Not only is it super duper waterproof, but then whenever it gets wet all night in a rainstorm, it still weighs nothing the next day. Whenever you go to pack it, you just shake it off and stuff it in your outside pocket. So,
and it dries so quick.
oh yeah, it absolutely, yeah.
It's amazing. It truly is a wonder material. Well, not material like you said. It's
yeah.
it is. It's crazy if you ever deal with it.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried and made anything and thought, this is awful, this is never going to work? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
I know you start off with the small stuff and you think, oh, I can make this, and
Yeah.
then you just like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I've got like my first backpack that I made. I probably made it 3 or 4 months after I started making ditties and pouches and stuff like that. And I just came up with the dimensions in my head and cut everything out, sewed it all together. It wasn't terrible, but it was not good.
Yeah.
It was, it was just too blocky. Whenever you're making a backpack, you need it to have some form to the back of it, so it distributes the weight to your back and to your hips right. It can't just be a box that's hanging off of your back, and that's what that was. So, yeah.
Well, I've been there. The reason I asked that is because I've been through that. I've been a crafter for a few years. I got into leather work, and the reason I got into leather work was that I was in the motorcycle scene, and I was also a police officer, and I wanted a biker wallet, the big chain biker wallets that would carry a police badge, but nobody made one. And so I Googled and Googled and Googled, and I finally found one, but it would have been a completely custom. And this wallet would have cost me almost $700 for this custom wallet. And I thought, screw that, I'll make one myself. So I bought all the stuff, and I sat down, at my desk, and I got this leather. I ordered this leather, and I cut it all out, and I measured, what a credit card would be, and I measured what a dollar bill would be, and I cut it out, but I didn't allow for the stitching. And so when I got everything done, nothing would fit. Not one thing would fit. It was small and completely, absolutely worthless.
Yeah.
And I've still got that wallet. I still have it here as a reminder of, 250 wallets ago, this is how I started. And this is how far I've come. And it's a definite reminder of, oh man, I'm so glad that I'm not where I used to be. Come a long way here, baby.
That's a great story. Yeah, forgetting your seam allowance. I love that.
Yeah, it's total inexperience on my part. Just like sewing it inside out. It was just one of those things where I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's
great.
Live and learn. Well, you and I met for the very first time on email, via email. Because one of the places that you sell things is on Etsy, and I love Etsy. A friend of mine a few years ago, he said, "Man, you just need to get on and Google ultralight backpacking on Etsy." He said, "All this homemade, handcrafted stuff will come up, and you'll find some of the coolest stuff on there." So I got on there, and the thing that I was looking for was a Dyneema compression sack, and I couldn't find one anywhere. And when I Googled that, yours came up because you make one. And the reason I wanted one was because if you put something that has a loft in it, if you put something that has like a puffy jacket or a sleeping bag or something like that, and you put it in a roll top sack that you just roll and it clips, you can't get it small enough. If you want something that really compresses down small, and I wanted a compression sack, and so I was so pumped, and I ordered 2 of them, and then you were having a problem getting material, And so we emailed back and forth, and you were like, "Oh man, I can't get this material. They shipped it to the wrong place."
Yeah,
You
to
know,
Brookings.
and so I understood at the time. It helped me understand a little bit more about the industry. You know, you're not a huge company. It's you and your wife. Y'all work at home. You work together, and you're not a huge company that orders all this material in bulk. And sometimes getting materials is not easy. So I understood the process a little bit and how that constantly affects you.
Yeah.
And so is that a problem that you face all the time in your business? Is getting materials in order to make things?
I want to say not all the time, and it's not, but it's more frequent than I would like, especially when you're talking about Dyneema. That one's probably the most problematic because I think there's only two companies right now that sell Dyneema, at least the variant that I use. So, and neither one of them really get it super frequent.
Yeah.
So, and the main barrier to Dyneema is the minimum order quantities and how expensive it is. So these companies are putting up almost, a house price to get their shipments of Dyneema.
Right.
So, it's kind of tough for them to do it. And then and then for me to be able to get it downstream. So anyways, there was an unfortunate event where they sent it to Brookings by mistake. And and then the post office in Brookings sat on it for a good 2 or 3 weeks before they actually sent it back.
They sent it to your old address.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I get that now. That's been a while now, but now I understand why they sent it. You said they sent it to the wrong address. They sent it to your old address.
They sent it. Yeah, I hadn't been there in almost 2 years, and
Oh.
that one was very unfortunate. And then
that's
Brookings was not in a hurry to get it back either, so it sat there for a very long time.
So speaking of Dyneema, on your website, you use I'm just going to describe it like this. It's a foreign language to a lot of people. You talk about different materials. You talk about EcoPack, EPX 200, EPX 400, Ultra TX, Ultra Grid, Ultra 800, Ultra 4-way stretch. I mean, there's just a whole lot of stuff that the normal everyday person like me has no idea what you're talking about. But that's the different materials that you use for the different things that you make. So how do you decide which materials you use for what?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And honestly, if you don't stay on top of it, it just passes you by like overnight. It seems like you wake up one day and you didn't check your emails, and all of a sudden you don't know about 3 materials that are out there new. But anyways, we really want to stay up with what is going to perform the best. It has to be waterproof. For 98% of our applicabilities, it needs to be waterproof. It needs to be strong, and we want to keep the weight down as small as possible. Those are the main things that we look for in materials. Now, in recent months, we've been able to bring on a couple of other, I would almost call them almost like budget options. They're still outrageously phenomenal materials, but like in an ultra grid material, that's one of our newer options that we've got out there, and we can carry that in like 6 or 7 different colors. It's fully recycled. It's a really cool material, very, very tough, especially for all of the material, or I'm sorry, all of the products that we make with it. It's very durable. And then we've also been able to bring on Ultra TX 50 and sometimes TX 70. It just depends on what's in stock. But I was actually very fortunate enough to work with Challenge Sailcloth whenever they were originally designing this material, and give quite a bit of feedback on the smaller bags whenever they were designing this material. And so I'm a little partial to it because I actually did have a little bit of a hand, probably not, but I like to think I maybe had a little bit of a hand in when they were making.
We'll go with that.
Sure. Yeah. We'll do that. They at least sent it to me and asked me what I thought, and I told them. Whether or not they listened, I don't know. But it's a cool material. It's very comparable to a Dyneema, where the weight it's like a 2.5 ounce material as opposed to a 1.5 with Dyneema, but it's the closest I can get. But it's also a little bit less expensive, so I'm able to offer that at a little bit lower of a rate than Dyneema, so it's a little bit more of a budget option. But it's still extremely strong. It uses those UHMWPE fibers in a X pattern. Yeah, I mean, that's really what we're looking for, is lightweight, waterproof, something that's going to hold up through a through hike. I won't sell something that's going to not hold up for a full through hike of the Appalachian Trail or whatever it is.
Yeah, sure. So my wife and I don't know about my wife, but I'm a gearhead. I if I was going down to the altar, I would just admit it, confess I'm a gearhead. I love gear. I love all the stuff, all the things. So let's talk about your gear. What is your favorite thing to make? Out of all the things you make, what's your favorite thing?
My favorite thing to make, I really enjoy making the roll tops, like either just roll top dry bags or the compression bags. I love making those. And my ditties, like those little cube bags that's got a zipper on them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love making them. I have so many of them. It's insane. I use them for travel. I mean, anything. We just went to Oklahoma over the weekend. We had a whole slew of them holding different things. They come in handy for everything. So yeah, roll tops and the ditty bags.
What would you say is the most popular piece of gear that you make? The one that everybody wants the most?
Yeah, and depends on the month, but it's one of those two.
Yeah.
Every month seems to kind of go back and forth, but mostly it's the ditty bags. Because we've got so many different colors, and like I said, you can use them for overland, you can use them for travel, like backpacking, pretty much anything. My grandma uses them for her cough drops. So
that was one thing when I first started traveling with Joey. He was like, "Okay, there's rules.
Yeah,
everything.
There are rules.
Everything has a place, and everything goes in something. Nothing's just like laying out, not in it, and no Walmart bags.
No
we don't
Walmart
put
bags.
stuff in Walmart bags and put that in the car. So
well, when you've got a small vehicle and you're gone for an extended period of time, you have to be organized to some degree.
Yeah.
And so the very first time we went somewhere, I handed her a box and I said, everything you take has to fit in this box.
Okay.
And because when you've got a small vehicle, like I've got an FJ Cruiser, and you put a kitchen, you put a refrigerator, freezer, you put everything you need to cook and live and all that in the rear of it, you take up 40% or more of the storage space. And then you've got a little bit, just a little tiny space for, what you're going to have to wear and all that stuff with. So yeah, I gave her a box and I said, everything you go. She said, everything. And I said, yes, everything. Everything you taste got fit in this box.
I was already
She was
very
awesome.
packer.
Yeah.
I was
amazing.
already
Totally amazing. And you've gotten so much better. Not really, but you've done really good.
Oh,
You've done good. You've done good.
But it is. He likes for it can't just go in the FG. It can't just go in the Subaru. It's got to go in something, and then it can go in.
Yeah.
And then the roll of toilet paper can't just be.
Oh yeah.
No, it's got to be.
It's got to be it's got to have a storage.
And so when he gets your bags, he's so excited to open up and think, "Oh, what can go in here?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I love that.
Oh, these will be our perfect snap bags. These are perfect for snap bags, I think.
Yeah. Well, organization is one of my loves, and I dream about it. And it's just something cool, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. What is the one thing that you've come up with that you're the most proud of?
Oh man, I would say we're talking like design wise on products. Okay. Well, there'd be two of them. Number one, I really like our food bags that we do. So, most companies have some type of a food bag and they roll down and they clip.
Mhm.
But there you go.
I just happen to have one right here.
I love it.
It's so crazy. Oh my gosh.
I just emptied this out from my deer hunting trip. So yeah,
Nice.
this is my food bag that I took with all my snacks in it, and it rolls down and it clips just like this.
Yeah,
But I like it because it's got a zipper on it.
that's it.
Hmm.
I didn't want just a normal roll top style, and those are great, but like I really wanted something with a little bit easier access, and I don't always want to roll it down. Sometimes
Hmm.
I just want to open it up. I want to grab my thing and either just kind of chuck it over to the side while I'm eating, or
Mhm.
if it doesn't need to be rolled down in my pack, I just want to stuff it in there and not have
Hmm.
everything fly out. So I
Mhm.
came up with that design. That was one of my very first products that we were offering was that. And those have been pretty successful. I really like those. I'm really proud of that design and have not changed. I brought on the larger size, but haven't changed
Hmm.
anything about those. And then also the compression bag was the other one, because
Hmm.
at the time we were the only ones making a Dyneema compression bag. And
Just
and there
happen
we
to have
go.
one right here.
Yes, sir.
And I absolutely love this. This is
Yeah.
probably one of my favorite pieces that you have. And I don't know if you could tell, but you can almost see through this stuff. It is so light and thin, but in order to keep everything dry and compressed, and I love how you've got, it goes down, and then these clips right
Yeah.
here make it suck down into something that's so small. It's so
Yeah.
amazing. I love it.
And you can get it down to where you can roll it, and get your knee on it, and then really
Yeah.
press it down, clip them in, and then pull them tight.
He's
And yeah,
Mm. He's
yeah,
like he'll Rumpelstiltskin with his gold, except he's Joey with his dynamic, like his
that's right.
bags. He's like gets all his
Look
bags
at
out that
that.
he's ordered from you and
Look at
Yeah,
that.
fondles
It
them.
goes down to nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so nice. Yeah.
yeah,
I can just I can sit in here and play with this stuff all day. I'll put
yeah,
stuff in it. And when we're watching like YouTube and stuff,
He is,
I'll get my gear out. I keep all my gear in milk crates,
yeah,
and
and
he's
I'll take.
practicing packing everything and seeing which bag is gonna work best for which thing. And okay, let me try it in this bag. And meanwhile,
yeah,
I'm sitting there watching with and then I have a book on my phone. Like,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, I watch videos all the time about the best way to pack your backpack and all this
yeah.
other stuff, and then I'll carry my stuff in there and like, oh, I need to try that. So
mm.
I take my bags in there and my packs in there and I practice.
How do you make your patterns now? Are you like, do you just, yeah, how do you make your patterns now?
Well, for a majority of my products, I'll cut out my blanks. I still do everything by hand.
Uh-huh.
So when we lived in Brookings, I did actually have a company that was able to do laser cutting for me, and that did make things a lot easier, because I could just drive down to, it was in Northern California. I'd just drive down, drop it off, and they'd laser cut all my fabric, and I'd come back and I wouldn't have to do any cutting, and
Oh my
everything would be
goodness.
like very precise.
Uh-huh.
But and so right now, what I've done is I've made a really big cutting table, and it has all of my measurements already on it. So I can just throw material down, unroll it, and I can cut out my blanks that I need off of the table. It sounds a little bit odd, and if you're not actually doing it, it doesn't really make sense, but it makes sense to me. So I've got my
Hmm.
own system down where I can just throw the fabric down, roll it out, and cut what I need to right off of it. And over the years, I've kind of honed it in a little bit, but yeah, it's still all by hand. But for like backpacks, whenever you have, actually like just panels that you have to cut out, I have templates, that I've had laser cut out, and I've done like worked with a CNC machine, and then
Okay.
cut out all my templates from there.
Mhm.
I just input all of my measurements in, and yeah, and it pumps those out, and I just trace them and cut them for some of those.
It's just fascinating. My mom is a quilter and can sew anything, seamstress galore, and my grandmother was as well, and all my aunts, like they just all have grown up doing that. And so to think that the way that you like create gear
Yeah.
it's so much, I'm like, oh, it's the same kind of stuff. You just don't realize. I just never realized like the same work that goes into it. So.
Oh man. Well, the quilting though, I'm sure that takes a lot of talent to do that. Oh,
I
I've
don't
seen
get it.
some of the stuff they do, and yeah, that
It
But
blows
it's
my
really
mind.
does put me
and
to
all it
shame.
takes is one generation for it to be lost, and that
Mhm.
I am the generation that's dropped the ball. So,
Oh no. Well, it's
You
never
do
too late,
some
right?
stuff. You make stuff.
I do, but I crochet. I don't sew or anything like that.
Oh,
So
okay. Well, that's still. I mean, you take a long thing of something and you make something from
I
nothing, and
do.
that's
I
still
do.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
Well, thank you.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's cool.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Um, well, I was thinking earlier today. You know how everything has a story. All the
Mm.
gear has a story. The different places that you take it, the things it's been through, and it creates a story. And one of the things that as a gear maker that you probably look forward to is compliments and encouragement. Well, we carry things out, we use it, we do it again, we drag stuff all over the planet. So, what's a cool story or two about something that you've heard about where your gear's been or what it's been through or something like that? Tell us a little bit of encouragement that you've got from people that use your stuff.
Sure. That's a great question. There's one specific story that definitely comes to mind. This is fairly recent, within the past year or so, I think, maybe a couple of years. But a guy reached out. He had bought a Recyclops backpack from us, and I think it was pretty close right after we launched them. And he emailed us, and he's like, "Hey, just so you guys know, I bought this pack from you. It's been about a year, but here's what happened to me." And essentially he went on a very remote backcountry type of situation. I don't know if he was kayaking or floating a river by himself. Like, I think it was like northern Idaho or something like that, way out. It was way out west. And he had to bail. I think that his canoe or whatever it was that he was in flipped, and he got into a really, really bad situation really quick by himself, and he lost everything in the trip.
Oh wow!
And so he had completely written it off, and it was just before, I think it was just before winter. So he had this trip, and he did not. I mean, he just barely made it out alive. Like, it was not a good situation for him. And I don't know if search and rescue was called or whatnot, but yeah, he said that he made it out. And anyways, it was springtime, and he decided he wanted to go back and try to find all the stuff that he had lost. And he said that he found the backpack, and it was caught into a tree, actually in the river. And it was just like had been, caught in a tree over the river, and it was like water was still like rushing over it. And he sent me pictures of it, and it just had like one little tear where the tree had actually like pierced into it. And that was it. Everything else, he's like, you'd think it was brand new. And I tried to buy that backpack off of him and send him a new one, and he was not having it at all. So that one was a crazy wild story, and we shared it on our Instagram and everything. So I'm sure it's still out there. But yeah, we pretty frequently we get time to time, or specific stories on, hey, your gear helped me go here, do this, do that. And yeah, sometimes I do think about it whenever I'm sending out this large, set of orders, and I'm like, man, I wonder where's the craziest place one of these things are going to go to.
It would be nice if you had trackers on them and you would be able to track where a lot of it's going. I know a lot of the stuff you sell, people probably buy it just because it's cool and never use it. But a lot of the stuff, people actually use it and take it to some pretty cool places. And it would be really neat. A lot of people say, I'd love to be a fly on the wall. Well, I'd love to be a tick on that bag or something, and see every place where this thing goes. But I know you've told me that, your stuff has been on the Appalachian Trail and different places like that. So several places where, big time places where your gear's been. So that's pretty neat stories.
Yeah, it's been really around the world now too. So we sold a lot of gear to this it was an ultimate racer or something. I can't remember what they were doing. It was ultra marathoner or something in Uzbekistan. Went out there. We actually were able to do DoD contract at one point, so we had a lot of stuff that was in Humvees out in Afghanistan, like holding like big first aid kits with our Dyneema roll tops. That was kind of crazy because that was really early on after I'd started doing this, and they found us on Etsy, and that one was kind of crazy. It was a contractor who reached out.
Okay, that's hysterical.
That's
I love
awesome.
It was
DoD
so
like,
contract
I
through
have a contract
Etsy.
with the
That's
US
so
government.
good.
It was weird. It was like, yeah, it was kind of surreal.
And all the bids and all the stuff you have to do. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So we've gotten to do some cool projects so far that you never really would think about, just making what we make. But we've been super fortunate so far, and I'm sure our gear has seen some crazy stuff.
Oh my gosh! Like some of your gear is holding my wet wipes and my toilet paper, and it was just on the Boy Scout trail a couple weekends ago.
I love it.
So there you go.
I love it.
I know.
And I know too that now 3 of our Alpine Fast Packs have been up to Everest Base Camp too. So that one's kind of cool. We've gotten reports back on those. Yeah, it's like Island Peak. So I can't remember how high up that was. It was like 24,000 feet or something that they were using it for. And yeah, it was.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so that was pretty neat.
Yeah, this is the one that's holding my wife's toilet paper. So this is the toilet paper holder.
He came in and said, he's like, I can't find
the pink one.
And I was like, because you gave it to me.
Yeah. This is so which one is this? This is a little ditty bag here, right?
Yes, sir. So those are that's the regular size ditty. And actually with that one specifically, I had ordered some different colors of zipper in, because usually they just come in black. So that one's a little sneak peek. I'm going to probably be doing a limited release of orange and neon yellow zippers.
I love it.
Love it. Mm-hmm. And the thing about these is you won't ever lose them in the leaves or anything like that. So that's what I love about that. I like being able to find stuff, because you get to unpacking stuff, you're like, where did I put that? Well, if it's like this, you're going to find it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And when I backpack, I'm the same way. It drives me crazy to have a whole bunch of like loose stuff in things. And so I have a lot of bags, and they're so nice and light. It's really nice to be able to.
This is one of the first ones I got from you. So this is a flat pouch, right? This is a flat zipper pouch. Yeah, I love that you put something on the zipper. It makes it easier to pull. So I love that.
And they're reflective too. So if you got them laying around your tent at night, and you hit your headlamp, you can see where your zipper pulls are.
Nice.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Because every time I'm looking for something, it's dark.
Yeah.
All the time dark. And we've got a couple of these that are this size. These are I think this is an Eco Pack. Is this right? White.
That one's that's the Ultra TX 50. That's the TX 50.
That would sound like brooms from Harry Potter. Like
I'm telling you, it's foreign language. I really like this one. I used the brown one last weekend for our food. It was perfect. I actually had everything that I needed in here. I actually had all my food, snacks, and a my extra socks.
Nice.
With my food, so everything was in there. I had never had one this shape before, and I think I talked about this with you. I'd never had one this shape before, and I didn't know how I would like that, because almost everything you buy is a vertical bag. And so if you look and if you look on the backpacking stuff, almost everything that you see is a vertical bag, and this is actually can be used as a horizontal bag. And so what I did was, I put my puffy jacket in there, and I was able to lay this perfectly down on top of it, and it just packs so nice in there. And I thought, I don't know, I've never used anything that shape before, but I actually love this size and the shape. It actually was perfect.
So that's the XL size ditty bag, and for overlanding purposes, I use those XL ones to hold like my like wrench kits or sockets.
Yeah.
A lot of tool kits. I've even got like a toe strap, I think, and some ratchet straps in one too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get different colors, you know, and then that way you know what's in the different kit bags. And
Yeah. It's
Mhm.
overlanding and organization. It's
That's
they go
right.
hand in
Well, one thing that we have been using ever since we got it from you, I love this
Oh yeah.
tote.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. This is one of my new favorite things. This is your tote bag. And what I don't know what material this is, but this is super strong.
Yeah, so that one's made out of an Ultra 200 material. I tried to make a few of them out of that, and we'll be releasing those on our website here in the near future.
And it has a
Right now,
little-
we just do them in Ultra Grid. But yeah, it's got a little internal pouch, so you can slide your phone in there, or maybe keys whenever you're going shopping or whatever you need. And it's got a little gear loop you can clip stuff onto on the inside. If you're going climbing or whatnot, and you've got a rack, that you're going to be carrying with you, you can hang that in there so it's easily accessible. Yeah, you can use those for anything.
Well,
so
in Arkansas, we can have all 4 seasons of weather in one day, in one 24-hour period. So I've learned my lesson. Since I lost all my weight, I'm always cold. So I'm always having to carry a puffy jacket, extra, pants or something like that. So for clothes or puffies that doesn't really fit into like, whatever you're taking as far as you're putting your clothes in, that works so good.
awesome.
With puffy jackets, vests, different things like that, jackets like this, hats, shoes in the bottom of it. It is absolutely phenomenal. Food bags. My wife is all about the snacks, so we have to have a snack bag. And so
Love
it's
it.
perfect for that. And I absolutely love it. We never leave home without that anymore.
Snacks mean that you can keep going.
That's right.
Okay, the other thing is I love about that bag is one of my travel tricks is you always take an empty bag with you. Like you always pack an empty bag because souvenirs or whatever, dirty clothes, like because you always forget something and you realize if we just had like or when we go somewhere and we're going to a campground and we just need to throw our stuff in a bag to be able to walk to the showers or something like that.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's always so handy to always have an empty bag, and that one is perfect because it fits plenty, but it packs up so small, and it's got straps where you can just carry it with you. It's fantastic.
Awesome.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
That's great.
And my last thing is I got an order in today.
Oh, yes.
And I can't tell you how this has been killing me not to open this until now because I wanted to do like a unboxing. It's not a box, but
Unbagging.
Unbagging. And so I'm so excited. I did cut it open or break it open just to save some time since we were going to be live on the show, but I have not looked in here. I promise. I have not looked in here. And I haven't seen all this stuff yet, and it's killing me. Anyway,
the man is he is so funny. Keep doing your unbagging, babe. He can resist anything except the lure of a possible present or a new thing. So like there were some things that came in today from Amazon that we store in our guest bed, and the man he never goes in the guest bedroom, and today he's already been in there like 4 times.
Oh,
The lights on in
I
here.
needed
You
to
need me
be
to
in
turn
there.
it off? Do you need me to?
I needed to be in there for a reason. I had a reason. So tell me what this is. What am I looking at here?
Oh, yeah. So that is a pack liner made out of our Ultra TX50 material.
Oh my gosh! The man
it
has
is
a
like-
pack liner.
It is like a huge roll top dry bag, fully taped, all that good stuff. But yeah, it's to help, keep your gear dry.
He likes a pack liner better than he likes a pack cover.
Sure. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, I don't like pack covers.
Yeah, and that one should last you.
Cool.
So and
oh my gosh, that is
I really
so
love using.
cool.
I love mine that I've got. So those aren't available yet on the website, but a few years back, whenever I climbed Mount Shasta, I used one of those because I hiked up to I think it was like 10,000 feet the first night. And then I did a bivy camp. And what I was able to do is use that as like a really big food bag, essentially, and pack all of my stuff I didn't need for the day. And I could hang that in a tree. Because if you look, you've got some D-rings on the.
Yeah, you got the D-rings on there. Look at there.
So yeah, you can either
That's
like
the world's biggest food bag.
Yeah.
It's the world's
That fit lots of snacks.
And it'll hold whatever you need. And then that way I could go super lightweight up and back. And then pick that up on the way back down. Yeah. So
I'm so excited.
And I use it like whenever I'm not hiking, I'll use that to like hold some sleeping bags or whatever. You can just throw your stuff into that.
Okay, that's fantastic too, because having a nice bag that when you are, because a lot of people we know that they'll have they don't keep their bedding up in the rooftop tent. They keep it somewhere else. So that's a nice thing to be able to fit lots of bedding in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also have a ultralight fanny pack in here.
Yes.
And this is also going to double as a chest pack or a what did you call it? A something to go on top. What'd you call it?
Oh yeah. So you can use that as a fanny pack, chest rig, or you can have it on top of the backpack as like a brain. A lot of backpacks.
Oh yeah.
Or you can attach it to the front of your backpack too, using the different loops that are on the backpack.
Look at that.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's a prototype that Joey's going to be trying out for me and going to be giving me some much needed feedback on.
Oh, am I ever?
Yeah.
Feedback. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait to it. I'm going to be up a while tonight.
Oh man, as you can tell, I put like all the straps on there. Like it's straps galore. You won't need to use all those at once, but they're all on there for you to show you where they go. And we can talk later on how exactly I had it in my brain.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm pretty excited about that one.
I'm pretty excited about that too. And let's see. Oh man.
Yep.
Look at this. Uh-oh. Where'd I drop some? Oh, that's some attachments. Oh, look at here, babe. The Recyclops.
Wow.
This is the Recyclops. And this is in what color is this?
That's the dark chili.
Dark chili. Oh, that's one of his chilies, one of his favorite things. We're going to Albuquerque just so we can get some chili.
Red chilies and green chilies.
Yeah.
You'll fit right in with it.
Yeah.
My goodness. I've never seen one of these.
How many liters is that?
So it's about 35 liters with the pockets on the outside, about 30 inside. So it's great for overnights. If you were doing a through hike of the Appalachian Trail, it'd be great for like shoulder and summer seasons. But yeah, you can be out there for 2, 3, 4 days. Just depends on how you pack with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, how very cool.
I'm so pumped.
Yeah.
How very cool.
I'm so pumped. I'm so excited.
They're really cool. I really like those packs, and they're made out of an ultra grid material, so that's why we call it the Recyclops. It's kind of if there's any office people out there, that's Dwight Schrute dressed up as him for Earth Day one time. But yeah, it's made out of recycled material, so that's why we call it the Recyclops 35.
Okay. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I am super pumped about this. I'll be wearing this around the house when we get off here. I'll have it loaded up with puffy jackets and trying it out and all this other stuff and driving my.
I'm a lucky girl.
I
mean, if that's the only thing you're wearing, woohoo!
Oh man, keep it G rated. Oh man, I'm so pumped about that, Luke.
Right on.
And I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to do quite a few trails when we go to New Mexico in a couple of weeks, so that's going to see a lot of time in the red dirt. So that's going to be perfect.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah. Well, when I was younger, organization was not my thing. I really couldn't care less. I was like most of the kids today. I was a slob. I had everything shoved up under my bed, and my truck was a mess. And but as I've gotten older, I've figured out that being organized makes for a happier life. And there's a lot of people out there that hasn't figured that out. Tony, who co-hosts the show with me, is one of the most organized people I've ever seen in my life, with his deck system in the back of his Gladiator and stuff like that. So, in your experience, how does using gear like what you make, like the Diddy bags and the wallets and the zipper bags, how does that make life easier on the trail?
Yeah, it's mainly for whenever you get to camp. You know where everything's at immediately, and how you pack everything. You know what you're grabbing, and you packed it in an order. Whenever you unpack it, you're using it as it's coming out of the bag. The other one, and probably even more important, is on stops along the trail. So my goal is typically to not really have to open up the backpack until I get to camp.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I'm moving on the trail, the last thing that I need is to have a gear explosion, at my lunch break, and then spend 15 minutes getting it all packed back in and everything else because I couldn't find something.
Yeah.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves. So, yeah, whenever I'm out hiking, I usually stop, and I usually don't even open up the pack, and sometimes I don't even take it off. I'll just undo it a little bit and then use it as a backrest, and have everything else that I need up front or in my fanny pack throughout the day. And that's really taking breaks is really where it comes in handy.
Yeah, I've seen people, I get cracked up at some people when every time they stop, it looks like they're having a yard sale.
Yeah.
Because they've just got stuff everywhere. And that's the people that you go and you're like, hey, you want to trade some you want to trade some oatmeal for some sardines or something, because you can see everything that they own. But what about the overlanding community, those who are not into backpacking, traveling overland? How do you see your gear helping people that travel by vehicle, helping them out?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the Diddy bags, with the pouches, you can use them for pretty much anything. Like whenever I'm using for van life and whatnot, I'll have my bathroom kit set up in one. I'll have a first aid kit set up in a pouch. In one of my large pouches, I'll have an extended first aid kit with my meds and whatnot. I'll have fuses in a small one. I have wrenches in one. I've got sockets, 3/8 sockets, and then I'll have my 1/2-inch stuff in another one. All of my tools are just like a tire repair kit. Everything's set up so whenever I open up the back of the van, I can tell by the colors of everything, and I can just grab what I need, and I know that this is this or this is that. And for if you're carrying stuff on top of the rig, roll top dry bags, if you're in something that's not completely waterproof, if it's not in like a Pelican case or whatnot, those can really come in handy on keeping different supplies. They'll keep them, keep the dust out, keep the water out. If they're exposed. The totes, we use the tote every single time we do any type of traveling. Sometimes we'll share a tote if we're on a short trip, or we'll each have our own tote with all of our, and that's how we know what we can pack.
Our own?
So we'll each have our own tote, and then pack everything in there, and we'll unload it into the drawers, and then you got a tote, for whatever you need. And it comes in handy on a lot more things than you'd really think. We've also got some duffel bags too. This is going out to Mom.
We already talked. We love a good duffel.
Yeah. And it's fully seam taped, and it's got, it's not exactly dust proof or fully waterproof, but it's about as close as you can get, and you can get those in different colors too, and they'll hold about 35 liters of stuff. So those are good for gear hauling, and they got like haul loops. You can take it, remove different things.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, we love good organization, and we use all this stuff pretty much everywhere we go. So it's made life so much easier, so much better. We're so much happier people now. We laugh more, we smile more.
That's always good.
So I'm interested, in your day-to-day, what is a day in the life look for look like for you in this business?
Yeah. Yeah. So with just my wife and I doing, everything start to finish from cutting, taping, sewing, everything like that. So we'll usually, if we're kind of looking out for the week, we don't really take weekends off. We do try to hold ourselves and take a couple of days off during the week, but we'll typically look and see what the weather looks like.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of eyeball those better days for taking those days off instead, whether it's a Monday or a Sunday, whatever it is. But yeah, we just kind of get up and we get moving on whatever the set of orders are for that day. We'll batch 1 or 2 days worth of orders together, and we put it up on a board, and we just kind of get right into it. So we each have our things that we do, but we just get right into it and get 1 or 2 days worth of orders done, and bag them up and send them out the next morning and get going on the next one.
That's so cool. I love the pictures of you. You're sitting there sewing. You've got your headphones on.
Yeah.
You're just in the zone.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
I'm like, oh, he's in the zone right here. He's just putting stuff out, putting it out.
Yeah, noise canceling headphones. I'm completely in my own world, and I got a little phone holder on my sewing machine, and
yeah. What do you listen to?
Oh no, I'm really bad. I just watch YouTube videos on cars and Bigfoot, whatever it is that day. I'll go down a tube and just, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm going down a hole today.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my playlist. It's hits every genre. It's everywhere.
Oh yeah.
No, everybody always asks me like, what kind of music does Joey like? And I'm like, everything, but
yeah.
like it's
everything and nothing. It's everything and nothing.
Well, we do
a lot of times I just like quiet, but
we
sometimes
do like quiet. Working in a middle school will do that to you.
Oh, I tell you what, when you're around young children all the time, you just want to sit there and just enjoy the peace and quiet. When I was in the Deerwoods this past weekend, sitting there and it started raining, and it was just a light rain, and it was hitting the top of the deer stand, and it was just coming down, and there was no wind whatsoever. It was nice and cool, and I thought, this is heaven. I can't hear any sounds but the birds and the rain. I could just sit out here for days and days and days. It's so nice. So
oh boy,
yeah, it's so nice. So
yeah, that sounds amazing.
Oh, I love it. Well, we can find you on Instagram at UltraliteSacks. So your website is ultralitesacks.com. You have your different gear, your contacts, and different things like that. You're on Etsy. You're on Garage Grown Gear. You're all over the place. So just encourage people to check out your stuff, see what you've got. It's high quality stuff. I wouldn't recommend it if it was not. You're very good at customer service. In a world where when we have a question or an issue and we call and we have to talk to an automated service, and we want to scream, representative, we actually get to talk to a person. You'll email them back, and that's really nice. So I love the customer service. I love that you're local. I love that you're in Arkansas, that you and your wife are a small business. I love how you support the Rigs and Coffee up there. You came to Rendezvous with us. Just love everything about you. And you're just a really cool, neat guy. And I love to hang out with you. So I want to support you and recommend you to everybody that I see. And I cannot wait to try this backpack out. Hey, babe. Yeah. Hey, babe, you see my new backpack?
Backpack.
Yeah. Well, Luke, I want to really tell you thank you for coming on the podcast tonight. Michael, thank you for being here. Michael's way up in Alaska.
Oh, wow.
So he's up there at the Keweenaw. Is it Keweenaw? Or
the
Kenai. He's way up in there. So, yeah, good friend of mine. Actually got me started on the podcast. So thank you, Michael. But yeah, thank you for being on the podcast. Thoroughly enjoyed getting to know you a little better and taking time out of your day to come visit with us and you and your business. Love your products and just want to tell you thank you. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me on. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Gia. Sorry.
I was just saying, so nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too, Gia.
I've heard so much about you. So
yeah, wonderful. Thank you for the kind words, Joey. I appreciate that.
Oh, you bet. I'd say that to anybody. But I want to thank everybody who's tuned in. I want to thank everybody who's going to listen to this on all the podcast platforms. I hope you've gotten as much out of this as I have. Got to meet a super cool guy and learn about super cool gear. And hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you for listening to the Overland podcast. Whatever you do, look out for number 1 and don't step in number 2. We are